They said they wanted power.
Oh, awesome.
Zapa, Zakalush, Kalamatskalo.
Welcome to Guru Talks.
Guru? What do they do, like levitate and chill on mountaintops?
Not exactly, but you are in the right place to find out everything you need to know, and it's actually quite simple. I am your host, Florian Boschi, and I will be going extra deep with Guru Bhaneswaranand each and every show. We are covering deep truths about relationships, success in business, world peace, and many other topics. Oh, and of course, enlightenment. Because our guru, well, he is enlightened. This is the 21st episode of Guru Talks. Today is all about business. Guru Bhaneswaranand, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
If we get right into it, Guru Bhaneswaranand, what does spirituality have to do with business?
Spirituality is a system which drives you towards completeness. So it has got everything to do with business. Anything what we are doing, it has got everything to do with every aspect of our life.
From what I understand, you're helping large companies, you're helping businessmen, you're helping the corporate world to succeed in whatever endeavors. Can you explain a little bit more about this?
Yes, whoever comes to me, I usually try to do things and help them as per my capabilities, and they get helped, and therefore they come back again and again and again. Look, when you are not working in the leadership position, you do not get the stress what when a person is working on the leadership position gets, because he has nowhere to go. When an employee is not able to solve the problem, he goes to the boss and tells it is not possible by me, and he thinks his job is done. But when you lead a business, your job is not done here. You are responsible to several people, several of your investors, several of your banks, your employees, the families of those employees. You are responsible to everyone. So you cannot say that I stop here. And that brings stress and tensions in your mind. They come to a spiritual organization like ours, and they are able to talk freely with us. Most of the times it helps them, and even if they do not get enough help, still they get relaxed because they have already spoken it to somebody who can try to help them a little.
You said in one of the seminars you gave for business people a while ago, you were saying that everybody has someone to talk to, but leaders don't, right? So do leaders, is it a quality of leaders to make decisions on their own, or do they still need somebody? Because I think you were saying something like...
Yes, I understand what you want to say. They make their decisions on their own. They do not come to me for making their decisions. But yes, they definitely need somebody to talk to, somebody who can understand their difficulties, somebody who can help them at their grievances, somebody who can be on their side with them in their tough time.
There are business coaches that do these kind of things. There are, counselors that do this. There is a whole coaching industry around coaching for business people. what is different between coaches and what you do? How are your qualifications different? Because, I mean, you're a guru, you teach spirituality, right? So, how does it work?
I'm not a coach they are looking for. They can learn, they have done very big qualifications, most of them in business management, in business administration. What they are looking for in me or what help I am able to provide them, I work as their friend. I'm or they consider me as their friend, and in any time when it is a difficult period for them, they come to us for a help, and whatever we could do for them, we do it without judging them, without asking them for any explanation. So they rather feel very comfortable talking to people like us than going to the business coaches and going to other places where they can be helped.
So, you think one of your unique qualifications is that you don't judge people in any way or form, no matter what they come to you with?
Yes, that is a, I mean, if you think that is a qualification, it is. I do not judge. And when they are in difficult position, they don't want to be judged. They want to somebody who hears them properly and gives them some suggestions so that they can start going up in their life.
So, okay, but businessmen are a very special kind of people. You would think that, they probably, and please tell me if I'm wrong, but they're always looking for an angle that helps them to increase, the value of the company, their profit, the amount of gross income they can accrue throughout a certain time period, etc., etc. So I assume that there must be more to them or more for them in it than just finding a friend.
I agree with you, but when you have found a friend and your stress goes away from the work, you are able to work nicely, you are able to work with more confidence, you are able to work in a nice and decent way, and we also help them with the rituals so that they become little successful in their business activities.
So you say rituals. This is a very interesting thing because I've heard you speak about rituals before. You call it not a technology. You say it is the mix between science and art. It is also something that very few people probably know about, and certainly they don't know the intricacies about it. So if I'm a businessman and I'm thinking, well, okay, so I'm coming to you. I'm going to be helped because I'm going to be heard. I'm going to be understood. And I'm also going to be helped in actuality with something called rituals. Yet, I don't know at all what this is about. I have never heard about it. Can you tell us a little bit about what rituals are? How do they work? What are the mechanics of the the trait you're using?
Success has got no mechanics. It's not necessary that you do things in this way as others has done, you will succeed. It's a gut feelings, and when a person starts feeling in himself that I will succeed, usually he does. Rituals are the systematic prayers, which is when done changes human's heart, changes human's mind, changes human's confidence, and this is what is needed to succeed in business.
Can you give an example?
See, most of the people when they reach for the help, their confidence has shaken. And when you do not have the confidence about yourself whether I will succeed or not, you do not make a decision. In management also, when they teach, I think they teach that there are three types of decisions you make. One is good decision, which is of course good. Another is bad decision, and it is second to good decision. The worst is indecision, that you don't make a decision at all, in the confusion, in this and that. You remain in that confusion for months together and are not able to take a decision. Good decisions brings you profits directly. Bad decisions, you come to know that you have taken a bad decision, you learn from it, they bring some experiences to you, and in way of experiences, that you will take the right decision the next time, and therefore they are also beneficial to you. But indecision never gives you any benefits.
Okay, that makes sense. But now I'm still wondering, what are the rituals for? Because what you were just telling us, a regular business coach could say the same thing. He basically analyzes a business with the client in question, and then they decide upon a certain course of action. And then the client will go down this road maybe and try it out, and then it doesn't work out, so they sit back together, analyze their business strategy, decide on a different course of action. This is basically what you, if I understand you correctly, what you answered in the last question. But this has not necessarily anything to do with rituals, does it?
You see, rituals increases your confidence. They brings you good luck. They brings you little luck to business. And you see, when a person goes to a business coach, it works. I'm not saying, I have never said that it doesn't work. And there may be, he doesn't find the kind of solace what they find here, because they find a mentor, a guide, a guru, a friend.
I have never spoken to a businessman who told me that what they are lacking is a tantric ritual in their life, right? I've never met somebody. So I assume that many businessmen or businesswomen, they don't even know that this kind of, again, you call it an art or a mix between an art and a science, that these mechanics even exist, or this engineering, or whatever you want to call these rituals. So I would just like to to help our listeners or businessmen who are listening to understand what they can what they can expect, how it works, what can you actually do for them that other people can't.
Success in business does depend upon the system, does depends upon what the business coaches teach you. But according to me, success in business mainly depends upon the business leader. The drive of the business decides the drive of the leader decides the drive of the business. And you must have read that there is a system, there is a something called bottleneck. If you have got a lot of water in the bottle and your neck is very small, still the flow will be small. So the condition of business leader, condition of your CEO, condition of your director is directly proportional to the condition of your business. And therefore, if they are in any kind of trouble, psychologically, financially, materially, uh, fighting with wife, emotionally, family wise, it is definitely going to affect your business. No, he doesn't open up with a business coach that I am not able to come to the work without fighting at home. When he comes to a spiritual person, he has a confidence that his matter from here will not go to anywhere else, and he opens up totally. We do not solve the business problems. We do not. We make the person a business leader. We encourage him to take the decisions. We encourage him to be at nice thing. We encourage him to try to not expect many things from many people. We encourage him to be a nice human being, and all that reflects in their business. And when we start working on them, a person becomes a perfect business person becomes a perfect business leader. He takes the decisions for the organization with a calm and quiet mind, and organization starts growing like this immediately.
You know, I watched you a couple of weeks ago, and you were having a conversation with somebody who wanted to be a leader. And you were clearly telling the person that he's not a leader. And this person is working in their family business. It's a relatively large business, I think. Of course, without saying any names or giving anything away. But you were telling that person that he will never be a leader, but there is a way, and it takes about a year's time, where you do a series of rituals, very elaborate rituals, and those rituals can make somebody a king, you said.
Yeah, it is called Raj Rajeshwari. It is again not specifically dependent upon the business, but it starts changing the nature of a person. You see, most of the followers people, they always think of themselves. When you start thinking of yourself as a business leader in an organization, what starts happening? That you send the wrong signals. And then people also responds you in the same way. And if everybody becomes selfish, an organization, my dear friend, cannot be run. Organizations can be run only by involving everyone together. And how do we do that? By taking right decisions at the right time, number one, by taking care of your people, by taking care of their problems, by helping them when they need it. And all these are the quality of the leaders. And by performing Raj Rajeshwari, a person starts changing. He changes for good. He starts thinking for the universe. He starts thinking about his own people more than himself. He starts thinking about the welfare of the people more than the profit. And this all things starts becoming so good that people starts giving their 100% to the organization, and organization starts growing.
So you're saying that you can help a person change their nature so profoundly that they can that they just start to reek of success and can do whatever they couldn't do before, basically.
That is what the prayers are. If we go to a temple, we go to a church, we go to any place of this thing, we always say, "Oh God, please give me success." And why we always say if it is not working? It works because when we say so again and again and again, it fits in our right brain. It fits in our brain, and our brain starts helping us in the same direction, and we succeed.
Yeah, but people do this for decades, even that they tell themselves, I'm successful, I'm successful. But you do one ritual or a series of them that is very, it seems like pointed, and
Yeah,
it's a relatively much shorter process, it seems like.
it's not shorter. Prayers are much shorter than the rituals because rituals are the systematic prayers, so it takes time. It takes a lot of efforts from our side, and it also takes a lot of efforts from the person's side who want to work with it. But yes, in most of the cases, it has always worked. So I find no reason to say that we should have a second thought.
Yeah, so I have seen you do that. So once you have done that, and where I have kind of like had a little bit insight, and you were basically helping that person to achieve something very important for their company in their life, and you were in a consistent process with them. So they would speak to you, you would adjust. They speak to you, you adjust. You tell them this, you do a ritual here, you do a ritual there. So I assume that this is at least in this case, it was a flowing process that not everything was clear from the beginning on how you will achieve the goal. There were certain things that came across during the process, and then you adjusted. Is this a common thing? Is this a very individual, very tailored treatment that you give in these cases?
Yes, whatever you have seen is perfectly right. And from the starting onwards, you do not know what main problems you are going to face in the future. We prepare them, get them ready to face everything what comes their way, and in facing that, they make the right decision. And yes, it's a continuous process because it cannot be done by a single ritual. It has to be supported by several prayers again and again and again, and understanding the person again, what he lacks today and how we can fill that gap. We analyze every moment and work for them, and when you start doing it, it always works.
So, am I understanding this correctly? So you were talking now about, or we have been talking now about businessmen, but this same thing goes for leaders in all areas of life, I would think. Entertainers, actors, people, activists who want to change the world on a large scale, politicians who want to do good in the world, who want to change the world in a large scale. This could apply, this model that you're speaking about could apply just for businessmen, or for all these people that are just for all these kind of different things as well?
It applies to everything. You see, most of the times, our success is not dependent on us only. Our strength doesn't necessarily give this success to us always. By our strength, for example, I tell you, I bought a good train ticket to somebody who wanted to travel from one place to another, and everything was right, there was nothing wrong, but he did not reach in time because the train was delayed. And we can say that it happens only in India, but that's not true. It is not the case of India. It is the case where we believe that everything works professionally, and it was in Europe. Why he did not? Because it did not depends upon his capacity. It depended upon the capacity of a driver who was driving the train. It it was also dependent on the signalman who was giving the signal to the train, and it was dependent on several external factors. Similarly, when, for example, when you go for a role, let us say in a film, and director is not in a good mood, he doesn't even listen to you, and he makes a decision. When he is in a good mood and you go and enter, he says, okay, come my dear friend, let us do the audition in a real way. And maybe you are able to do an audition in a better way, in a friendly atmosphere, and it works out. Most of the time when we go for a business meeting, for a meeting with the director, for a political meeting, we have some stress in ourselves whether we'll succeed or not. That also makes a difference, and it brings failure to us. What we try to give by the way of rituals, by the way of our suggestions, by the way of the wisdom what we have, what we try to give them is the confidence. And success and failure does not matter to you. What is in your hand, do it as nicely as you can. And we give them the belief that if you are able to do what was in your hand nicely, it will always be the good results.
So this is the secret behind what you do.
You can say so. It is not mainly this. It is this plus many other things also what we do, and it is not something what I can say that I do this, and a person succeeds. When we start working with a person, we try to analyze his strengths and weaknesses, and we give him some rituals according to his strengths and weaknesses. We try to give some suggestions according to his strengths and weaknesses. And then after a week, he asks, or we ask, are you facing any difficulty and problem? We again analyze and see how it can be resolved and try to resolve it. Another week passes, we again do it. So it becomes a continuous process. He gets total confidence in us, and then he takes the decision. He becomes a good decision maker, and everything starts working for him. Here again I would like to say, it is not the system of the business what we change. We try to bring confidence in the leaders of the business. Maybe the set of people involved, then we work with the set of people, and if one business leader is heading the business organization, we work with one person to take him where he wants to be.
I see. So you were just saying that there are different models. So sometimes you work with the entire leadership team also. Has that happened in the past?
It has happened, and we have worked with the whole team. And when you start working with the whole team, most of the times we have seen that all the team members are not working for the same cause in unified way in one direction. So first thing, We have to help them with the ritual, with our understanding that if you have got the same cause, all your energy put in one direction so that the vehicle starts moving, so that the organization starts moving. Don't try to put your energies in different directions so they nullify. Rather, put all your energies in one direction to move it and to move it faster. And when it starts moving, everything is good.
So from the last 10 companies you have worked with, how many times did you succeed?
I think I have always succeeded, as I have told you earlier, or as I have said just before some time, that success brings the profit, or and the failure brings you the experience. So in every case, a businessman succeeds. From this failure, he learns and converts this failure into success. So in most of the cases, it was always a direct success, and in some cases, if it was not success immediately, we have been able to help them to learn from their failures and become successful, and their second times they were all successful always.
So you can take any company that is close to bankruptcy and turn it around and make them be successful again?
I don't say so. I don't say so. You see, we have to find out the reasons why it has happened. Okay, and if you find out the problem correctly, solutions are always there.
But then you're using solutions, or you're using solutions that employ spiritual energy, yes?
Also,
So
here I would like to clarify very clearly that it is not only spiritual energy. We give them suggestions, we give them a lot of other inputs along with the spiritual energy in order to succeed.
I see. So how much would you think of your work is spiritual energy and how much is advice?
It's difficult to quantify. In some cases, it could be 80% spiritual energy and 20% advice. In some of the cases, it could be 100% advice or 100% spiritual energy. It cannot be quantified depending upon what circumstances, what problem a person has, and what would be the solution at that particular moment. And we advise him to take the decision, or we advise him to take the ritual,
Okay.
and or we advise him to take both. You see, it's nothing like a science that we do this and it comes. We have to understand what his heart says, how difficult position he is in, what confidence level he has become to. Is he still confident, or he has lost entire confidence? And then accordingly we make a decision.
Okay. Now my question is, what magnitude are you able to work with this, with what you do? Could you, for example, help a president of a country to prevent a war? Or could you help all the European Union countries to get along with each other? You know what I mean? That's
I
it's a
think-
big question, I think.
Yes, you are right. I think it can be worked at any level. I'm happy the European Union is formed and it is working very well, and when I come here it's beautiful really. And similar thing has to happen in entire of the world, not only here. And this area politically has always been a leader, and they have got more responsibility than rest of the world. Maybe they have to make a model and present it to the world that if European Union is working, why not global unity works, and we work and live in a global village.
And you think that the art or science or the mixture thereof of Tantra can help to unify the world and to make the world a more peaceful, unified and beautiful place in such a large scale that it will make an actual difference?
Yes, I believe I believe in it, and as long as you believe, half the work has already been done. For another half, you start working. Uh, I think when Second World War occurred, nobody could have thought that another war will not occur for next 70 years. There had been conflict in the world, but world leaders has successfully been able to avoid a big war for a very long time now. Why? Because they have worked. They have worked for peace. United Nations was formed. Security Council was formed. Many things. And when you start working, when there is a desire in you to bring the peace in the entire the world, you will eventually, you will eventually.
Ah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But like when you speak about work, we think about diplomats going to visit diplomats, having conversations, communicating, working out structures. This is all on a very tangible level. But what you are talking about is
It
to
is
employ spiritual energy to
that
create these changes, which is a whole different baby altogether.
no, no, I think you have misunderstood. These diplomatic connections are also required along with the spiritual energy. We have to understand why conflicts come in. We have to understand everything, and most of the conflicts come in for the fear. So you are doing a lot of things diplomatically without removing the fear of the leader. It works, but not 100%. But when we work in the synergy of this diplomacy and also how to avoid the fear from a country, from the individuals, from the world leaders, how that that will bring confidence of leader in the other leader. You see, confidence is lost. We do a lot of diplomacy without having the confidence in each other. When when the spirituality comes in, we start believing each other. We start posing our confidence in each other, and then added with the diplomacy makes lot of difference than only diplomacy makes.
Okay, so you need a mixture of good actions and the luck you basically provide. It almost seems like you're able to turn the luck for a leader to be able to kind of like remove the obstacles on the way. So with the good decisions, success can basically come in.
Yes, that is what I am saying. Anything in this area of making a person leader, business leader, world leader, whatever it is, uh, removal of fear is must. Trust in each other is must. And yes, we provide that by spiritual work, we provide that by teaching, we provide that by our actions, we provide that by everything. And this, in addition to the diplomacy what world has today, will make a lot and lot of difference.
Okay, so now we spoke about changing a leader to make somebody a leader. We spoke about helping people to clear obstacles. We were speaking about all these things. Now there is another aspect of this which is called protection. Is it possible for you to give protection to a company from potential enemies, for example? If somebody wants to destroy a company, could you protect that company from being destroyed?
Yeah, there are some spiritual things, and by which it can be protected, and those processes can be done to protect a company. And yes, I mean protecting individual is very easy compared to protecting a group of people, but yes, it can definitely be done in case they desire to do it.
So if you need to protect the company, it actually means you would have to protect all the individuals inside the company.
Obviously.
And that would help them from what harm? Like, I mean, if somebody wants to economically destroy a company, what would it help to protect all the employees of that company spiritually?
You see, when a spiritual protection takes place, usually your enemies do not think of destroying you, they think of joining hands. Maybe you are able to buy your competitor, maybe you are able to buy the company of your competitor, or maybe you are able to work in synergy with them. But basically, destruction does not take place. It's only the positive things which starts flowing in automatically. You becomes more relaxed, your decisions are taken nicely by the surroundings, everyone starts liking the group of people, and that is how you grow.
So would that be similar with somebody who stands in the public light and who wants to, be more loved, I guess, or be, have more of a following or something? Would you also use a protection for that? Because it seems like
Most of them are already protected. But yes, I think they take it from somewhere. It's not that we are only doing this work, many others are also doing. And it definitely helps. Protection helps them a lot.
protection helps them a lot. And you also can give a person the radiance that the person needs to become an entertainer or a successful actor or a successful politician.
You see,
You can have somebody acquire the charisma that they need.
we can help them, not exactly acquire the charisma. It is a continuous process. If they have something and they are helped by us, circumstances comes that their talent is recognized, and that is what the need be. You see, there are many talented people in this universe, and nobody knows about them. Uh, there was something, a discussion in India, that we go to the villages and villages to find the athlete. There could be few people much better athlete than the world's athlete, but they have never got a chance, they have never got an opportunity. So I think by doing this, usually people starts getting the opportunity, and they are being heard, they are being seen, and something good and everything good starts working to them.
I see. So they still need to be able to perform as an athlete, for example.
Anything, I think anything, you have to develop yourself in that, we can help you.
Okay, I see. I see. Now there is another aspect I would like to speak about. So it seems like sometimes there are the rooms, like let's say a factory or a phone center. It could also be that the energy in the actual rooms is not good, right? And for this kind of problems, you use physical things that you put into the company to help change the energy.
No, we don't put physical things, we put energy in those physical things, and they then put it, like like somebody was saying me that there used to happen lot of accident at a joint in a country, and then they have put some houses there, and it is not happening. It is
So, sorry, what can you explain? What I didn't understand what you were saying.
I mean, I come across a discussion where a person was saying that this intersection of this road, mainly lot of accidents were happening, and then they have put few houses, small houses. It is
What, like a birdhouse or something?
something like that, yeah. And then it is not happening.
No more accidents.
No more accidents. That is what he said. It's not the house which is important. those house has been energized so that the intersections be protected and less accident occurs. That does not mean, again I tell you, that you drive rashly, carelessly, because somebody has put house and accident will not occur. We have to have our responsibility, and along with our responsibility, this energy helps us to protect our lives, to protect everything what we need.
Ah, okay. So let me translate this into a business situation. So could you put these charged items into, let's say, a call center, and increase a call center that makes cold calls, for example, and increase the amount of people that will respond positively to those phone calls?
We will, we do that. We do that, and we do several things. We put some yantras which uh, attracts the wealth energy. We put few things which takes care of the business. We also put few things by which the employees are satisfied. We try to put few things so that clients are satisfied. We try to put few things so that governments are favorable to you. I mean, it's not one thing what makes you successful. It's a series of things, series of energy is needed, and if everything works out well, I think you succeed.
So I understand. So bottom line, if let's say there's a company with 1,000 employees, and and you work with the business leader, would you recommend to also start involving other aspects or other parts of the management team to increase the efficacy of the work?
Yes, yes. You see, as I said, everything starts with the leader. If so, we start working with the leader, of course. But for example, I tell you, we can have different groups of these 1,000 people and teach them to perform yoga and tell them, okay, you when you perform yoga in the morning, your mind remains calm and quiet for the entire day. And if they start performing it, they how the people are at the place of work, your results will start affecting immediately. So the more calm energies your employees has, it will translate into good results and into good profits. These are all the investments management has to do towards employees. Like you see, say 100 years back, they were not taking the insurance of employees. Now everybody is taking it. Maybe today we say that people are not doing yoga. Tomorrow it may happen that everyone starts doing it because it helps. It certainly helps when your mind is calm. When your mind is calm, you are able to give 100% to the organization, and when you do give 100% to organization, it grows. Otherwise, you are physically present and not giving 100%, you are giving only 30%. You are physically present because attendance is to be done. You came at 8 o'clock, went at 8 o'clock, came at 8 o'clock, went at 5 o'clock. You have worked for 8 hours, but you have worked only 30%. Instead, when every person gets involved, when every person is calm, when every person is happy, then every person gives their 100% to organization, and organization grows fast and fast and fast.
So you've been speaking about doing things fast a few times during this podcast. What is your, um, what would you say is your usual time frame that you put aside, or that is part of this investment or of this work that you do? Does it take a month? Does it take a year? Does it take 3 years to, like, let's say a company with 5,000 employees is, kind of like losing money. They are not making profits, and they haven't been really for a couple of years. The CEO is desperate. So how, what do you, what do you usually tell them? Like, you have to give it a year or 2 years. So what do
It,
you think?
it depends upon case to case, person to person, situation to situation. But in general, you start noticing the change in first 30 days. And if you do not, then we are of no use to you. And if you start noticing positive changes in the first 30 days, then go deep into it will make a difference. And if you do not notice changes in first 30 days, you have to maybe drop it.
So, there's usually, like, it feels like there's always a little bit of a gap between management and employees, right? It always feels like that the managers are kind of like having a little bit distance of the employees, and the employees to have a little bit distance towards the managers. Is this something that gets removed in your process, or is this a natural thing that needs to be there?
I think it's not natural, as you say, it's not natural at all. In any disciplined system, in any disciplined organization, senior should never think that he is a senior, and a junior should never forget that he is a junior. It runs smoothly. But as I see at several places, it is exactly reverse on the ground. Senior always thinks I am the boss, and juniors are not ready to accept it. And that is the biggest problem in most of the systems, in most of the organization. We teach them, we tell them this quote also, that never think that you are senior, and to juniors, that never forget that you are junior. You will also become a senior one day, and then the similar respect will be given to you also. And this is how it works, and it works very well.
Guru Bhaneswaranand, what do you think is the biggest mistake of business leaders that you have seen in your experience with working with many businesses and helping many businesses? Is there one such thing, or are there a few?
Yeah.
What would you think?
There may be few, yes, but since you asked me what is the biggest thing, biggest is always ego, which takes the birth from the fear of not succeeding or something. What we need to do is to remove the ego, remove the complexes from the leaders if they have, and remove the fear by spiritual energy, by talking to them, by giving them the advice, and everything starts working well.
Is a leader a 100% thing, meaning everybody who is a leader is 100% a leader, or is this more like a scale that some people have 70% leader aspect inside of them, some other people have 90% leader inside of them? How does this work?
I really do not know, but I think, and as I have come across, you can classify people into two categories very easily, not depending upon how much percentage they have and how much they don't have. I think the humans can be classified into two categories as leaders and followers. Then among the leaders, there can be good leaders, capable leaders, and little incapable leaders. But uh, by and large, I think humans can be classified into leaders and followers.
So it seems like that leaders find their way to you a lot. From what I understand, you didn't really choose to help businesses, but it just appeared this way. It seems like that, at least that's what I heard you say in one of your lectures. It seems that they find your way to you. Why do you think that is?
Because they have problems and they have nowhere to go. You see, when a follower, when a junior staff of an organization has got a problem, he goes to his boss, says, I'm sorry, I cannot do it. And he thinks that his responsibility ends there. Actually, we should not be in any organization like this, but it happens like this. Now, where this leader go and says to somebody that I'm sorry, I cannot do it, he has to perform. And therefore, he needs us more than a follower. And therefore, it is very natural that you see leaders coming to us than followers. But basic reason is that whoever is in distress, whether a follower or a leader, and has no place to go, he goes to always a spiritual help, and he finds a solace, a niceness, a decency, everything what he needs there, and everything becomes good.
Can you define leader for us? Because I've spoken to somebody and I feel like that person maybe misunderstood. I actually spoke to somebody today about it, and then he was saying, that as we were speaking, that somebody would be loud and make sure that his will is being done, and I kind of like, exactly, that's not a leader, right?
No, they are administrator. There is a difference between administrator and a leader.
A manager is an administrator.
Yeah, they are administrator and managers are also different in a way. Manager is different qualities, administrator is different qualities. Manager doesn't shout. Administrator shouts. He forces a work on you. Manager does it in a way that you do not come to know even about it, and he gets his work done. But leaders are different. Managers has got a fear. They want to protect what they have. They never try to give their 100% talent. They think that somebody will occupy their positions. Leaders are fear free, and it does not matter to them whether they remain in that position or not. They just lead, and they make the decision for themselves and for the group, depending upon his capacity, depending upon his qualification, his caliber. Decisions can go right and wrong, but he doesn't hesitate in making a decision for himself and for the group. Whenever he sees an opportunity for himself and group, he puts in his 100%. He risks everything what he has, and that is how leaders are formed. When you try to save something for the next day, it's a good thing. Saving is a very good thing, but then you do not form a leader. Leaders have risked time and again everything, and that is how I think profit got defined. Remuneration, wages, salaries, and profits are different terms. Profit is the result of risk taken. Salary is the result of your hard work you have put in. Wages is a result of how many hours you have put in the organization. There was a case when somebody told me that I have got 40 years of experience. And then I told him experience does not count number of years you work, number of time you work, but number of challenges you faced in this work and came out successfully. That is what the experience is. So, I mean, this is the leadership, and the human being can be categorized into two forms: leaders and followers.
So, does a leader always take care of other people, or is it just about the risk taking, or is it a combination thereof?
I think it is a combination. When you are fear free, leader is one who tries to make others also a leader without having any fear in his mind that he will take away my seat. They try to delegate the work but still takes the responsibility. They never shirk away from the responsibilities. They take the responsibility of their deed, and they also take the responsibility of the deed of the persons who has worked under them. They take it happily, and in the circumstances when results are not very favorable, he stands up and protects his fellow workers and says, it was my responsibility as a leader and I have failed. And when the result are affirmative, positive, he stands up and says, it was possible only because all of you have worked with me. He takes the people together. He takes everyone together, and that is how the leaders are formed.
Okay, that's great. But like you probably learned it in a management school too. I mean, everybody can say that, right? Everybody can get up and say, it was my fault, or everybody can say it was the other people's achievement and still doesn't mean it, right?
If you mean it from inside, usually people even they don't say. When they fail, when a follower fails, he puts the responsibility on the circumstances. He puts the responsibility on everything. He tries to put the responsibility on others. He tries to put the responsibility on the leader of the organization. Always you will see like this. But when a system fails, leaders usually gets up and says, we have taken a decision jointly. I as a leader is responsible for whatever has happened. We will try to correct it. If that comes without any pressure, you see, in the organizations I have seen that, okay, you take the responsibility. The top boss says, okay, you take the responsibility. And people takes it because they have to save their job. That is not the leadership. It comes from your heart, from your mind, from your inside, that yes, I have failed and I admit that I have failed, and next time I'll be overcautious not to fail.
So you say that it's something that can't be learned. It has to be in your heart already.
I don't say that anything cannot be learned. It can be learned, but yes, it is difficult to learn, and it is really, really difficult to learn
But
what you don't have. Yeah.
But with the work you do, you can create that change in
I
people.
think yes, and we have been able to successfully do it in few cases, and in case it has worked in few cases, I believe that it will have to work in every case.
Thank you so much, Guru Bhaneswaranand, for joining us. We're unfortunately out of time. We'll see you again next week. Thank you for being here.
You are most welcome, and thank you for inviting. Thank you for everything you did.
Good night. Thank you for listening to another episode of Guru Talks. Share this episode with anyone who wants to be enlightened by Guru Bhaneswaranand, and don't forget to click subscribe.